Greetings, YouTube. In the video I made not long ago called What I Do for a Living, I went into excruciating detail about what I actually do at a factory. And that particular part I was discussing in that video, I am still making. And I am the only person on third shift in my entire building who is qualified to run those parts. So I run them every day as long as we have rubber and we have the steel inserts that they use. This doesn't always work out because sometimes the people in charge of our logistics aren't. But when we have both, I run them. So I have more experience at these parts than anyone because on the other shifts, they are on a 3-person rotation. So the other shifts, any single operator is only going to be on them for a third of the time, whereas I'm on them 100% of the time. So I've made tens of thousands of these things and have racked up more hours on these parts than anybody else, probably in the whole wide world. And I get to see the P chart, the production chart, in front of me every day when I come in. I'm the guy that finishes the chip production chart, and I put it in a little mailbox for my boss to go and, enter it into this computer system. So I can see what the first and second shift have done for their production numbers and done for their rejects. And every day, they tend to have more rejects than me, first and second shift. Now, I'm not bragging. I've just made a lot of them. I also have a different philosophy of production. That's what part of this video is about. There's a reason it has a mental health tag. But the first part is about work. And I don't know if it's because an engineer told them this, or a boss, or maybe the person that trained them, but a lot of operators I've encountered, both on this part and on many others, seem to believe that if you do ABC, you will get result X. So ABC, boom. ABC, boom. Where the rubber meets the road, it doesn't work right like that. Machines are picky. They have personalities, and certain parts run better in certain presses, and certain parts run differently in certain presses. And you have to learn how that part runs in that press, and you have to know it over time. And the changes and the subtleties between a good day and a bad day can be small. But if you learn them, and you pay attention to what the machine wants you to do, which sounds counterintuitive because it's a machine, and people have been convinced that, machines do, but that's not how machines work. Which has always baffled me because in America, almost everyone either does or has owned a car at some point. And you know that cars have personalities. So do industrial machines. So I don't do ABC and expect X. In this case, X is make lots of parts and have a low reject number. So I want to make lots of parts and have a low reject number. And the reality is I actually make, usually, depends on the operator, I can make slightly more or slightly less than certain other people. But I have a really good reject rate. Because I listen to the machine. I just don't go chunk, 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 A, B, C, X, A, B, C. No, because A, B, C doesn't give me X. A, B, C gives me crap. And it gives me bunches of rejects. Would you rather have 80 pieces in 2 hours and 5 rejects, or 75 pieces in 2 hours and no rejects? Guess which I want. And that's what I almost always have. So why am I telling you this? Why am I talking about machine parts and how to know how to run a machine that other people don't know how to run? Well, for the past 6 months, I've been treating my depression like the other operators have been treating the parts I currently run. I was going A, B, C, X, and where X was going to be in control of my depression. And it didn't work. I did ABC, 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 and not only did I not maintain my depression and improve it, but it got worse. and I was slipping into despair. And I was falling back into the old habits of going into survival mode. Now, I lived with survival mode for decades, for 35, 40 years before I really began to tackle my depression. And the best I can say about the survival mode that I was in is that it was not being dead. It wasn't living. It was just existing. And I don't want to slip back into that. In addition, we have the elections coming up. And taking into account my current state of mind, not good. And the current state of politics in America, not good. I didn't know if I would survive a re-election of the shitgibbon. There would have been the very distinct possibility that my depression would have killed me. So I made the decision earlier this week, at least at the time of this filming, to go back on medication. I resisted this. The last time I tried antidepressants, this is Wellbutrin. They're little orange, round orange pills. I guess what's the brand, the generic name? Bupropion, HCl, 75 milligrams tab. And I take one a day, and it puts serotonin in my brain. And so the hope is that this will not have the side effects I had the last time, which made me incredibly, unbelievably hungry. I ate everything in the world, and I put a bunch of weight on, which I don't need. So at the moment, I'm hovering around 185, which is about 20 pounds more than I should have on my system, probably. I'd be happy if I could get just back down to 170. But if I wanted the drugs I had last time, and I don't remember what they were, I apologize, I would definitely be putting weight back on. I don't want to do that. So we're going to try Wellbutrin. This I just started. I've only taken 2 pills so far at the time of this filming. And I'm hoping that it does a lot of good. The one thing I have noticed immediately, well, one's a weird side effect. I don't have the need to pee as urgently. That's a weird thing. But more importantly, I don't seem to be as angry. And it's not that I don't get angry. It's that the intensity is much less. I do not find myself enraged. And it would take to get me enraged. The subtlest, smallest thing. And I would be teeth clenched, wanting to break the world because I just didn't have anything left to cope. The reserves were gone. My therapist once said that the whole concept of work-life balance was a false framing. What you want to do is you want to consider banking joy. You bank joy so that when it comes to something happens in your life, you can draw on those reserves, maintain your mental health, and keep going. So there's no teeter-tottering here where a little bit slams you in the wrong direction. No. You have banked joy. You're able to draw upon that joy, and it keeps you at an even keel, and you can keep moving. Well, the last time I had joy banked away was the summer of 2016. When I had just finished therapy, I had voluntarily left. My therapist agreed with me. I was doing good. And then the election hit at 2016. And I spent 2016 until now very, very angry. But eventually the anger that fueled me and kept me going was petering out, and the depression was coming up. While I still got enraged the rest of the time, I was losing the battle. So I'm going to try these, see if they help. See if they don't have as severe side effects as the last ones did. It took me 4 tries before I found a therapist that really helped me. 4 tries. So I figure I can give modern pharmaceuticals the same number of shots. And this is number 2. So we'll see if this works. I resisted this, and part of that was the depression itself. But I don't want to die from depression in November if things don't make sense. So I'm going to try some antidepressants and see if they'll help keep me alive.